Hey guys, it's Windy from Windys.Art. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to demonstrate how to paint a Taiwan Blue Magpie in watercolor. As always, I start with a contour drawing. I draw out the actual shape and the details on the tail. For the background, I just leave it blank because I'm going to paint a color blending background. I start with applying masking fluid around the bird. This will make it easier to paint the background. I'm using a ruling pen here to apply masking fluid. I find it very easy to clean, so you don't need to worry about ruining your pen brushes. Before start painting, I like to mix the color in advance, so it's ready to use when coloring. Also, I suggest to put a bit more water for color mixing. This way you don't need to worry the color is not enough in the painting process, because it's quite hard to mix another one that's at exactly same hue. After the masking fluid is dry, I start painting the background. I first put a base layer on and add the darker color while the paper is still wet, so the color blends out nicely. After that, I add the second layer. I'm using the wet on wet technique here, which means I apply the clean water first, then quickly add the darker shades on. After the second layer is dry, I add a third layer. Same as before, I apply clean water first, then continue adding the darker shades around the bird. Next, I remove the masking fluid using the remover. Make sure your background is dry before you remove the masking fluid. Then I start painting from the eyes. Then I mark out the darker contour around the head. I start painting from the darkest area, which is around the chest. I'm using indigo mixed with violet color here. I always try to avoid using only one black color here because it makes your painting look dull and boring. Then I start putting the base layer on the body and also the wing on the right side. While waiting for the base layer to dry, I go back to add the second layer around the chest to strengthen the color. Then I start adding the darker shades and details on the body. For the inner sides of the wing, it has lighter color, so I put more water in while mixing the color. I like to hold two brushes in hand. One is for adding the darker shades, and the other one is for applying clean water to soften the edges, so it looks smoother. After that, I go back to the body and I'm using the number 0 pen brush here for the fur details. While adding for the details, make sure you strengthen the color around the feet so it looks more natural. Then I move to the wing on the left side. Similar as before, I apply a base layer on and put the darker shades and details while the paper is still wet, so we can get this natural blending color. I mainly use periwinkle purple, pink, and skin tone color for the wings. I also strengthen the color around the button areas of the wings, so they pop out more. Next, I move to the tail. I start painting from the darkest area and mark out the darker contour, so I can see the whole shape more clearly. For the white part of the tail, I just strengthen the shadows around it to set off the white color, as you can see here. I also use white watercolor pencil and a bright yellow tone color here for the highlight area. After that, I start adding details and the darker shades on the tail. I find it very convenient to use the white gouache and my number 0 pen brush to paint the highlights in the fur. I try to use the white watercolor pencil for the highlights in the fur, but it's too thick for the details. Lastly, the touch-up. I like to go back to see if there's any details missing or any areas need to be strengthened again. So the painting is about to finish here. Comment below and let me know what you think about it. That's all for today's video. I really hope it's helpful and if you enjoyed it. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you never miss out on my weekly art videos and tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye!